And so this is what I came up with. It took me about 8 months, but this is what I write about in my first book called The Duality of Being. This is what I talk about on my podcast. This is what I have private coaching clients. We go through these processes. And the first thing was quieting this mind and unrooting these long belief systems so they could be transformed. Am I almost out? Okay. A simple process is when you are feeling a recurring feeling, usually a heavy one, a heavy emotion, almost like it was yesterday but it could have happened 10 years ago or so on and so forth, is to hold that feeling and to ask yourself in that moment, acknowledge it, I feel this, and ask, what is this about? It requires you to have a relationship and a conversation with your inner self. And your inner self isn't the one that's giving you the answer. The inner self is the one that's hearing it. It's the listener, it's the observer. And so when you begin to question your feelings, your emotions, your beliefs, it's like questioning belief in Santa Claus. As soon as you begin to question it, it begins to transform. And there is something called grace, that you don't have to do a whole lot, but there is grace that will allow you to transform this when you begin this process of introspection. Now, I will leave you with that because my time is up. But I will tell you, if you're ever interested, please come and see me. I'm happy to discuss more or give you some information. Thank you.
Ma'am, and now we have Soumya Arun here.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's really nice to see all of you here. I think in the morning session, as someone mentioned, it was just for the sake of it. I think we were doing it. I think here in this room, we are much connected. I think we know we've been discussing much. Yeah, so I've been in depth, and it's been really nice to see. Myself, Soumya, so I'm the founder of an organization called as Akaseja. So it's basically a platform to, job searching platform for the education sector in India and also UAE. So basically I live in UAE and then I've come down to Bangalore. I keep traveling, so there was an opportunity here, so I've just came in here. Just to, I think we all are wonderful speakers here, but of course I'll give my bit of it, so my journey, how it has began, all that. So basically on this topic, to reinvent your investments, there are 5 things I really would want all of us to really follow. I'm sure most of us are doing this, but as an exercise, I think this is what I feel. So whenever you're lost, or you really don't know what to do, and then how you really want to bounce back in your routine daily. There are ups and downs in life, and then the psychology goes really negative ways. And being an entrepreneur, I think a lot more swings. I think almost on a very harsh way we go through at times. So my feeling is that I think one is the best is that the reading habit. I'm sure most of us or all of us must be doing it, but without fail, it's my personal advice is that I think reading is actually needed. If not reading, if you really don't have a time, there are a lot of sessions wherein you can plug in and then listen to it. There's motivational talks. Amazon also has got a lot of products, Audible kind of a thing. So likewise, we must subscribe to those and then listen to it. And it's you've been just walking around and then you've been sitting in somewhere in the park or jogging. You just listen to them, and it gives such a peace of mind. I tell you that entire world is on the Facebook and then clicking on the selfies. She's gone to this particular country and then the other person is doing. It's very fantasy world, I would say. I think it's not all realistic. And of course we all can do it, but I know that there are times that what we need, what they need it. Maybe that's what they really need, and then that's what they've been doing it. But at times, those when it comes to reality, and then I think someone did mention that yourself, your true self. So once we know ourselves, I think we have the path. We need to create it ourselves. And then whenever there's an ups and downs, I personally feel that reading or listening to these will make a lot of difference for us. I think there are days that certain small decisions we don't know, those books will definitely help. And next one is an exercise. So without fail, what may come in, whatever exercise, walk, yoga, gym or anything. So we must do it. Even a half an hour, 30 minutes will make a huge difference. And then third one is going to be the meditation. So I think as you all know that, I think most of us are also doing it without a fail, all 7 days. what may come in, I think it's our time, so we have to keep these things for ourselves in a day. Again, 20 minutes or even 10 to 15 minutes of meditation is of course needed for all of us. So this will again help. And next is again a good food. So the junk and a lot of stuffs. It's a tempting one. I think we really have to focus ourselves and then having that good food. I think that will also yield us to a better way to live a happy life. And then of course on the helping the community and the society. That's one of the one more point I really want to give it as a point. So these are the 5, if somebody want to really reinvent yourself and then want to come out of it if you're going through something. So I really personally recommend you to go through this. I'm sure you all are doing it, but that's one suggestion from my end. So there are quite a few books I think which I read. I think people do talk, and at times we have not gone through very in-depth pain or whatever the scenarios. So we think that this is the max peak. I think God has given only to me and not to others. But when you read those autobiographies of some personalities, the amount of things they go through, I think it is humongous. I think we really, by looking at that, okay, this is mine is nothing. I think we should move on in life. I think this is how we should be taking the decisions on. I think this is what I've learned it. I think I'm sure these are the only 5 things I just wanted to brief, and nothing beyond this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shita Chatterjee, and I would agree with everyone here that I think there's a better connect in this room than the previous. Of course, we were talking about our individual journeys earlier, but I think the energy in this room is fabulous. We are able to connect more. We are able to be, I think, more vulnerable and at the same time open our hearts to each other. So I have got a little presentation along with this talk as well. So as today's topic is how to adopt a holistic mindset and to reinvent your inner strengths. So I would like to start with my story as well. Today you see me as a happy-go-lucky girl, and if you follow me on social media, I'm absolutely known as peppy, talkative, very, very happy and chirpy. But trust me, I was a very, very brutal kid. So when I was a teenager, I had issues, and like any other podgy teenager, I was a little dark-skinned, and of course, this is all beauty products and great makeup right now. So, as a teen, I was very average-looking. At least I thought so. Like, most of us go through that phase in that teenage, and I was very, very grumpy. I was unhappy, completely bored with life, and my mother was not well. So when I was in class 7, she was diagnosed with a fatal illness, and she was bedridden for 7 to 8 years. So being the eldest in the family, I grew up really fast. And as usual, instead of taking it up as a challenge, I started cribbing. I used to perform all my duties really well, take care of my mother, take care of the house, take care of my younger sister, everything, but I used to crib really well. Oh my God, my life is so miserable. Why does it happen to me? And I'm ugly looking, I have no boyfriend, nobody looks at me. I was exceptional in academics. So I was the head girl of the school and a snooty one. I was the one whom people wished dead because I used to have check their hair, and all my frustration and unhappiness used to be channeled in all the other students. So I was just like, everybody called me Diane. Diane is basically like a witch. So everybody wished me dead, cursed me. And the same continued in college as well. So, I'm talking about an era where Ayurveda, the alternative healing science, was not popular that much, almost 20 years ago. So when I entered college, because I couldn't pass through the medicine examination because of the house issues and whatever. Anyway, I'm not blaming anyone anymore now. But I reached college and very unhappy. I made it through, one of the most oldest institutions in Ayurveda, very renowned one, but it was a government college. And in India, government colleges are amazing in terms of infrastructure. I'm talking about 20 years ago, not now. So, I remember my hostel room, it had that crazy British era fan with a long stem and petal like leaves, and it used to circulate like this. Anyway, the story is not about to take care of the fan, But those who know me, that they know that I suffer from chronic asthma. But because I'm an Ayurvedic doctor, I have healed myself and it's manageable as per Ayurveda. But at that time, I used to suffer a lot, and this is a story from the second year of my college, and that's when the awakening happened. Can you change the slide, please? So this is a story about coming from the medical camp. We used to have these medical camps in villages, and I was coming back and I was in a bus, and it was a diesel bus. So the fumes got into my lungs and I had a chronic asthmatic attack. And unfortunately, despite being in a bus of 200 students with all medical degrees, the point was my medical kit and my inhaler was in another bus, which was situated, which was running behind at a distance of 10 kilometers. And we were in the middle of a highway at 1 o'clock in the night. So I remember that pain very clearly, because I started sinking into darkness. Like she said, when you have a near-death experience, you have a different experience altogether. And I still remember people tell me I had frothing blue foam from the corners of my lips, and I just collapsed. The pain in my chest was unbearable. And when I woke up, I was lying in that cot in a dhaba. Dhaba would be like a street restaurant on the highway, like a highway restaurant. And I remember the cot. It was a woven cot, like you would call it charpai. It was wet because it was summer at that time, and I can still feel the wetness behind my back. So, when I woke up, I saw a bunch of students crying, howling, and I saw this man, trying to put air into my mouth, doing a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And unfortunately or fortunately, after years, he's my husband right now, so he was my knight in shining. And that was not a very good idea on the first kiss, trust me on that. So, he was crying and he was howling, and at that time we were friends only, so now, that's a different story altogether. Well, I was saved somehow, and they brought me to the hospital. Then I went to my hostel, and 3 days, I was lying on my bed in a supine position. Supine is like this. And then I was watching that fan, and for 3 days I was doing nothing but looking at that fan. And I'm sure you're wondering, what were you doing? I was thinking because, I thought, what if I had died? People would have remembered me as someone, there was this Ipshita Chatterjee, she was grumpy as hell, and she was really torturous, she didn't know how to have fun, she had no life, she was cribbing all her life, and she died. That was the moment of realization for me. That is when I realized that the problem is not the world, not my skin color, not my fat, nothing. It was inside me. I was living a life of self-pity and misery. And that is when I had a surreal experience, because I went back to the time when I was unconscious, and I could see a deep light, and I could see tunnels. There were a lot of confusion visuals in my mind. But that was the change, and this is my quote. This is not quoted or paraphrased from anywhere. I always say this: acceptance is the greatest form of liberation. So I felt liberated because that was the day I accepted myself as I am. I said, no more cribbing, no more crying. Circumstances are always going to be bad, or good, doesn't matter. Life is not going to be, fulfilling, but it's okay. I will smile. I will only live for this particular moment. There are people who talk about purposefulness and happiness and other things. I only live for the moment. This is my moment with you lovely people. I'm smiling, I'm standing, I'm having a great time. Who knows? Whatever can happen next moment, you can never predict that, can we? Isn't it? So that was my life-changing moment, and as I said, acceptance is the first form of liberation, and that gave me the inner strength, the power to reinvent myself, to find my inner strength. I'm sure you heard Rajiv Ji's talk about Ikigai, so I'm not stressing about it anymore, because it's the passion which makes you want to wake up from your bed every morning. Can we change the slide, please? So I have a 6-pronged approach to holistic mindset. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I call them P's, peppy P's, because I am peppy and anyway bad alliteration. So P is my nickname. So these are 6 P's which I'm going to talk about. First is playful intuitiveness. So, sometimes what happens is we plan a lot for life, isn't it? We plan, we say, okay, we'll finally be doing this is our roadmap, this is our goal, we want to achieve this. But sometimes in that process, we leave behind that intuition. Sometimes our gut feeling tells that this is the way to be. And we should always, it's playful, it's fun, and you never know what are the risks involved. But sometimes it's good to take risks, isn't it? So that is the first one. The second one I'm going to talk about is basically preventive habits for health. This is more Ayurveda. I don't know how much of interest you have in Ayurveda, but Ayurveda...
Kottakkal in March.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Then this is the right base for you. I'm sure you will go with a little more knowledge when you go to Kottakkal. So in Ayurveda, there are many sciences, there are many healing sciences in the world. They all talk about healing. But Ayurveda is the only science which talks about prevention. So something is broken, it can be healed through Ayurveda, but preventive aspect of Ayurveda is something which makes it absolutely unique. So when we talk about preventive aspects of health, you can talk about good food, you can talk about good diet, you can talk about having a healthy lifestyle, you can talk about meditation, you can talk about chakra healing, you can talk about aphrodisiacs, because that is also a part of Ayurveda, by the way. Next slide, please. Also, the next point is proactive approach to like begets like. So there's a concept in Ayurveda which is called Samanya and Vishesh. It says that Sarvada Sarva Bhavanam Samanya Vriddhi Karanam. It simply means, if you have positive energy, you will attract positive energy. If you have negative energy around you, you will attract that negative energy. There's a concept called energy vampires. Has anybody heard about it? Yes. So there are certain people who draw, she's very happy about it, maybe she's met one. Yeah, there are energy vampires around us, and they're always negative about life. They not only are miserable themselves, but make our lives miserable. So in Ayurveda, whether you eat, whether you do a lifestyle change, whether you surround yourself with people, you should always surround yourself with like-minded, healthy-minded people, eat healthy food, and practice healthy meditation, because meditation can have alternative formats as well. There are aspects which involve darkness as well. So it's very important to find the right path, to find the right guru. Next slide, please. The next point is 5 fundamental principle. It is called Panch Mahabhut. So it starts from P. You have about 5 elements, right? Space, air, fire, water, and earth. So basically, in Ayurveda, we believe that whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's table, chair, my watch, this monitor, everything in this world is created from these 5 different energy patterns. And that's why you should always think of consuming food or doing an activity which is associated with these 5 elements. For example, I'll just give you a small example because there's a little less time, so I will not elaborate, but I'll give you a small example. For example, if you talk about the energy of the wind. So if you're walking in the wind, or if you're doing too much activity, or at the same time, if you're consuming too much windy food would be dry nuts, brinjal, these are windy foods, or beans, these are windy foods. So that will increase the wind motion in your body. So similarly, if you consume foods which are fiery in nature, for example, chilies, garam masalas, different forms of nutmegs, cinnamon, various spices, or you consume, you do an activity which is warming for you. For example, you take a sauna, or you take a sun bath. That increases the heat in you. So likewise, right? Next, the power of food. There's a concept in Ayurveda which is called eat with tanmana. Tanmana is a Sanskrit word which means with mindfulness. Now you will be asking me the question that, okay, food is gluttony, food is pleasure, food is food porn, food is play. So how do you be mindful? I'm not asking you to consume food which is vegan or food which is displeasing in nature. So when we talk about mindfulness, Ayurveda says the principles are very simple. It says that you have to eat the right kind of food according to your body type, at the right time, at at the right place with the right kind of people, and the language should be proper as well. Anyway, we're running short of time, so if somebody wants details, I can talk about it later on a one-to-one basis. Finally, the last one which we are talking about, purposefulness. So, in Ayurveda, there are 4 steps of purposefulness in life, which is called dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. Dharma is that call of action or duty. Art is material possessions. Of course, nothing works without money, honey, isn't it? We all want money because we want food. We don't afford this mic to talk. So money comes, right? Karma is, of course, sexual desires or desires in your body, and of course, moksha. Moksha is basically the liberation from the cycle of birth and death. And go back to Susan's talk where she said she had, a sudden experience where she saw herself out of the body. So in Ayurveda, there is the concept of astral projection, by the way, which is called Sukshma Sharir, which means your tiny body, which is your soul, which is surrounded by 18 elements. And that 18 elements plus the soul, it takes the form of a tiny little screen body, and it transcends from your body when you do astral meditation or projections. So, the soul takes on this body, one body to another body in the humming cycle of life and death. In fact, it is said that the human body is attained after 82 lakh different origins. So you can imagine how precious is the human body. So once your human body, or the Sukshma Sharira, the tiny soul which I am talking about, it gains freedom from those 18 elements surrounding it, it becomes free. It doesn't have to take birth again. So it's a very strict form of meditation. We can talk about it on a one-to-one basis. Ayurveda also, inculcates that. So with this talk, can you change the slide? Am I running short of time? Just give me 2 minutes, right? Is it okay? Okay. So, in the end, I would like to say that mindfulness or purposefulness or, reinventing your inner strength is very easy. You need to find one thing that, gives you happiness, and that could be ecosystem therapy, it could be water therapy, it could be simple food eating, it could be sitting in the, nature, or reading a book, or practicing any form of mindfulness. But having said all of this, it's very important to have the right guru or the right teacher to guide you through the process of meditation. Because what happens is everybody's meditative, food, diet, lifestyle, involvement or requirement is absolutely different. That is my greatest pet peeve with the current momentum of wellness, because half of the people in the world do not understand what is recommended for your body. For example, most of the people are drinking lemon water in the morning, isn't it? Lemon water in honey to lose weight. But did you know that there are certain personalities which are pitta personalities or fire people in those who have been contraindicated to drink that lemonade? You will have influencers talk about how good it is for your system, how good it is to detox your system, but that is half-baked knowledge. So instead of doing good to their body, it might be causing a lot of harm. So it's very important to find the right teacher, go to a registered medical practitioner, go to a registered healer, and then take yourself through the process of meditation or detoxification or practicing mindfulness. That's it. Thank you so much. Easily, very, very talkative, very, very happy, very peppy, but the only drawback with them is they could be indecisive at times, they are forgetful, they're not loyal people, they're like, okay fine, I'm your friend, next day I'm other people's friend. Then similarly, if you talk about a pitta or a fire personality, they're born leaders, they have this glow on their face, glowing complexion, rosacea on their cheeks, and at the same time, they're very authoritative, and life is never like this for them. It's always peaks and lows. So either they love someone, they really love someone. If they hate someone, they really hate someone. Similarly, you have a kapha or a water personality. Water and earth personalities are calm people, forgiving people. Also, they're loyalists, they're silence. Also, it's very difficult to break into their circle of trust. But they could be procrastinating at times, they could be a little lazy, not intuitive. And there are different personality types. So if you want to know about your personality type and what is recommended for you in terms of diet, lifestyle, meditation, everything, you can take up an online questionnaire or see an Ayurvedic doctor.
Well, the reason I asked that question, obviously we in England have, this is why, so I don't know if they're, because they all say they're trained in India and they come up to set shop.
Right.
And I had 3 assessments done. Because, like, we always looking for answers to improve our health and so on. And one told me I was water, one told me something else. So I was getting very confused. So
I'll answer that for you. See, there are 2 things in Ayurveda. One is called Prakriti, which means your inherent, the body type you're born with, right? That doesn't changes. But if people are telling you different things, like you're this personality or that personality, that is called Vikriti, which means what is wrong with your body at that particular point of time. It can change. So that's why you might be getting different answers from different people.
So is there a particular website that you can recommend?
There are not many. In fact, I'll write down a list of websites for you, and you can always connect. Or if you want, you can always connect with me. And I don't charge anything for my consultations. All my patient consultations are absolutely free. So yeah, so I've been working in the beauty industry for a very, very long time. So majorly my forte is that. But yes, because I'm an Ayurvedic doctor by profession. Any other questions? Thank you so much, guys.
Susan, I have a question for you.
It's the duality of being.
Okay.
And it's duality of being, and the subtitle is Perspective from Multidimensional Travel. And my first children's book is called 2 Parts of Me, I Am More Than My Body. That's the first in a series of illustrated children's books from what we call K through 5, or 5-year-olds to 10-year-olds age.
So my question is not related to anything. Are you going to be doing any sightseeing while you're here?
I would love to, if there's anyone that's open to doing that. I was very concerned with the smog. I'm not at all used to it, so I might need a mask. But I'd love to get out. I just don't know where to go and all that kind of
How
stuff.
long are you here for?
I'm here till Monday. So.
Come on, ladies, is anybody here from this town? I mean, she's come here to visit. If you're in London, I'll take you everywhere. I wouldn't dare to drive here. And if I'd known yesterday, I would have taken you with my friends, because they're based in, they came down from, is it Dawar or Drawar? D-A-W-R-K.
Dwarka.
They came down yesterday and took me out.
But then I think Delhi, today I arrived, they were telling me that the borders are sealed
Yes.
again.
I think it's not really very safe to enter.
Yeah, so.
But no, locally.
No, but even in Gurugram, I think there are some places, I know that the.
When I was in this feast or famine phase, I realized, I began to look back at my feelings about it, because I realized the root of everything and how this universe works was based on my feelings. And I thought about my beliefs about money, how I grew up as a child, and what I was expressing when there was not enough money. And so my cycle was, when there wasn't enough money, I'd feel frustrated, I'd feel angry, and sometimes I would get to the point I literally would just scream, because I didn't know what else to do. I felt like I had this built-up energy, and I was like trying to figure this out, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. No matter what people were telling me, or these wealth seminars and this, and I used to even work in finance. I couldn't figure out how personal wealth, how to have money flow to me on a regular basis that was sustainable. It was always something that was very hard. And so a couple things. I started to take the introspective process about all of life showing up based on my inner feelings and related that to money. And I would isolate different money situations I've been in, and I would reflect on how I felt about it. And that told everything. And so what I realized is when there's an energy of money, it has its own consciousness and frequency. What I've learned about this energy of money is that it is also benevolent, like that energy of the universe I was talking about earlier. And the money wants you to have all the money. It wants you to believe in its infinite nature. But we are raised in a culture where money is finite or scarce or hard to come by, or we must work very hard. It's in a completely different paradigm than the energy of money is existing in. And so we're almost fighting, we're almost, in our way of dealing with money, blocking our flow of it. And this is how this kind of all worked out for me. And so when I thought about how I felt about money, it was usually based on frustration, fear, anger, those types of very low, heavy, dense emotions. And I did not know how to transform them because they felt automatic. As soon as there wasn't enough money, I had this automatic feeling. And I didn't know how to not have it. And one of the surest ways to overcome that feeling, that dense, heavy emotion of fear or not enoughness, was to have gratitude for what I did have. Now, even first that was hard because I'd just be hyper-focused on the dollars and cents. And if it looked like I had nothing, I didn't know how to be grateful for a negative account balance or nothing, or something that was late, or money that was late, or bills that were overdue. I didn't know how to feel grateful for that. But what I realized is that I didn't have to be necessarily grateful for that, not yet anyway. I could be grateful for something else. Like I could be grateful for help, my own help, or a friend, or having love in my life, or having a roof over my head, even if it was temporary. I could be grateful in that moment. And so I began to have feelings of gratitude to help me overcome that immediate feeling where I felt like doom or fear or frustration, or I felt like I'm going to scream if this doesn't start to work out soon. As soon as there was a deadline coming or something was due and I was like afraid that the money wouldn't come, I would like go into this cycle of frustration. And so to stop that, I used to give myself, I'd say, okay, here's the obligation and here's my money. Here's the obligation and here's my money. And I'd give myself 48 hours. I'd say, okay, I'm going to suspend my angry, frustrating, whatever feeling for that amount of time. And in that period, I would do an exercise of gratitude, of what I could feel grateful for. It took a while before I could feel grateful for that money situation. But I'd figure out what I could be grateful for and begin being grateful for that, even if I had to repeat it 1,000 times. I'm grateful that I have food to eat today, that my son is healthy, that I'm well in myself, that I have a family that's supportive, whatever it was, that there are opportunities set before me, that I have work, even if it's not paying me right now. I begin to feel like, say those things and then feel genuine gratitude. It's about a feeling. It's not about saying it. It's about feeling it. When you feel it, you can believe it in yourself. So that was part of it, is like the gratitude that helps tremendously with flow and to overcome that initial feeling of frustration. Because what I learned about money is that the energy of money and the laws of money say that if I'm frustrated, it has no choice but to return me more frustrating money situations. If I am angry when I don't have enough money, then I will see more situations in life that anger me with regard to money. However, when I am grateful for money, then I will see more situations for which I am grateful for money. And I said it took a while before I became grateful for the situation that I was incurring. Let's say I had not enough money in the bank to cover an obligation, and I would look at that and I would say, I don't know how I can, I use words like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. Well then, I would feel like that too. I'd feel like a little bit of hopelessness, like a little bit of like confusion. And that's what would show up in my life, more confusing, more hopeless situations, more bills, more this or more obligations. Something would show up, I'd be like, oh, that's it. You know, I'm going to lose it now. I would literally say those things and feel that way. And then I began being very mindful of my words. I write a list of alternate statements that I at first have to practice before they became usual. Like I would say that there's more than enough money to go around, or I never have to worry about money, or there's an infinite supply of money. There are trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Surely some of them can flow to me, or I'm worthy, or I'm good enough, or I'm deserving of it. I would first write those down because it took a while for me to truly believe it, especially in a situation where there wasn't enough money, or I perceived that there wasn't enough money. So once I started getting a hang of this language, like my own language and my own feelings and how important that is with my money flow, things began to shift. And this can be in a moment's notice, or this can take as long as you need it to. But what I've noticed is in those challenging money situations, there was a lesson in there. And usually it was a lesson about a feeling that had to be transmuted within me. So I was shown the same kind of ridiculous scenarios over and over again, these like mind-blowing things like I couldn't get it, over and over and over and over again until I got it. And then they could stop. The universe no longer had to show me this lesson because I got it finally. That I had to be grateful for what I did have, even if it wasn't my money at that moment. And then I had to really monitor my thoughts, my language, my feelings, and go back to the root of my beliefs about money to transform those finally. And what I found is this past summer, I had to go home. I had to go back to my parents' home. And I had not been home in like 23 years. I mean, I visited, but I would never unpack my bag. And there were some relationships that I hadn't kind of made closure with. There was a lot of my past. I grew up in poverty, teenage mother, not just a lot of shame around money. My grandmother was a prostitute, had a brothel, and money was very, this situation in my family was like unspeakable. Like I was not allowed to see my grandmother. It was just a lot of shame around money and a lot of poverty and in my that I was born into. And I hated that. So there was this part of me that I just didn't want to face it. It was never spoken about. It was always, there's a shroud of shame, and I had to face that for me to overcome this cycle that I was seeing in my own life. And so I went home and I visited grave sites. I went back. My father took me on this almost like a walkabout, like this Australian walkabouts, but we did it in a car and all this stuff. But it was like going back to my past to heal that, to honor that, to see my grandmother in a non-shameful way, but to honor her soul and what she had to go through, or she felt she had to go through in life, my own mother, and so on and so forth. So I did this journey of healing, and sure enough, I began to see this money situation differently. I think the most significant thing that happened for me is in November, just like a month and a half ago, I was at a conference in San Francisco, and there's a woman, her name is Sarah McCrum, and she wrote a channel book called Love Money, Money Loves You. It's actually up in my hotel room. I brought it with me. I think it's brilliant. And the way that I think about channeled books, you can decide where your beliefs are. But I believe that when there's knowledge that is channeled from a higher place, then that person that it comes through is entrusted with sharing that with humanity. And I believe this is what she did. So this book came out in 2013, but I just became aware of it like a month ago. She gave everyone a book at the conference, and we could queue up, and she would make an inscription. And at first I was like, cool. I thought I had pretty much understood this money thing, but then I read this book, and I'll share with you this book. Anyone that wants to read it, I highly recommend it. But one of the things she said is how the energy of money likes to be spoken to. And I've never heard anybody say it this way. And she said, think about, the energy of money as like this benevolent force, like this energy of love that wants to give you all the money that you request. That's what its job is. It's got its own consciousness. Yes, there's a physical money, but there's the energy of money, just like there's a physical us, just like there's the soul of us, the essence of us. There's the essence of money. And this money wants to be requested. But in the English language, and I'm not sure how it is in Hindi and other languages, but we say things like, I want $1,000, or I need, $10,000 for XYZ. We use the words I want and I need, like almost unconsciously. When we need money, that's how we say it, I need this. So what the universe hears is the energy of desperation coming from your heart center, and returns you more situations where you need or want more money. So we had to be, when I talk about money, I say there are two words that we need to remove from the English language with regard to money, and that is need and want. And the energy of money requests to be spoken to directly. And the way that it would sound like in English is, on December 24th, I have $2,400 to pay XYZ bill or vendor. Or on January 5th, I have $5,000 in my account for these expenses. Or on my birthday, I'm going to buy this handbag for $15,000. Just like that. And the trick, it's not a trick, but the idea is that you believe that you are heard by this energy of money and that it can deliver for you. So it's a shift in your belief systems from scarcity to abundance, from limited to limitless, from paper and governments to energy and essence. It's a shift in your consciousness and your beliefs and your language and your thoughts and your feelings. And of course it is easier to speak to money in a way that you believe it, if you do believe it. Then it's easier to shift your beliefs if your feelings, if you feel that it is true, if your feelings are aligned. So it requires an alignment of your beliefs, your feelings, and then your language surrounding it. And whatever the equivalent words in your language would be for want and need, to remove those from your money requests. And anytime you feel that automatic feeling of desperation, that automatic feeling of fear regarding money, of not enoughness, then in that moment, suspend that, acknowledge it, and suspend it. Suspend that thought by imagining what you are grateful for. In that moment, do that as many times as necessary till that feeling passes. That is a transmutation right there. And then you can begin to feel a shift because you will feel happier, you'll feel lighter, you'll feel freer in that moment of gratitude. And then you make your money request, make it direct. I've got an obligation for $10,000. I've got $2,000 in the bank. Energy of money. I have the $10,000 I need for this obligation on Friday at noon. And believe that. Now, you say, well, what happens at Friday at noon and it's not there? So there's something about the energy of money. Sometimes it looks like you get a deposit in your bank account and it looks like physical dollars or numbers on a screen. That's one way. But the energy of money may bring you more customers, opportunities, or clients, connections. It's all-encompassing. And so when you are waiting for your deposit, do not be lazy and not take that call or look at that opportunity or an opportunity to grow your business to attract more customers. And so what it has had me doing is looking at every opportunity that comes before me. I see things coming through on LinkedIn and this and that. I'm like, oh, what should I do? Or what should I sign up for? Or what should I give my money to? And sometimes it seems like there's a lot coming in, a lot of opportunities, but they're going to cost me first. And so one of the rationales for the energy of money is to say, hey, is what I'm being shown or being offered in alignment with my greater purpose and vision? So I'll give you an example of my own life. I had this opportunity to do this radio campaign, almost like a PR. And I thought about it. Someone said, oh, I've done about 18 radio interviews, and I got another opportunity to do something for a year to promote my business in the U.S. But it was going to cost me to join it. And I thought to myself, is it the right time for me to do this? I had done a PR campaign when my first book came out. And I said that to the gentleman. I said, I've done this before, but I'm not sure about the returns and if this is the right thing for me at the time. And he said, well, listen. He said, you do a 30-minute spot with us, which I would do on January 10th. And he said that we'll keep you in this program for a year. We're going to run your 30-minute interview every week for a year, because we expect that you'll see a 33% increase in your business. He goes, and if I'm wrong, then you have no obligation. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And so I just think about every opportunity is it forwarding my purpose, my business, my passion? And if the opportunity is not, maybe it just isn't the right time for it. Not that it's not a good one, but maybe in this moment, if I've got this amount of dollars and this amount of obligation, maybe it's not the right one. But if I've got the money for it, and it's aligned with my purpose, and it seems in line with in a trajectory that I'm moving forward toward, then I take that opportunity as a way of reaching my money request from the energy of money. It's an opportunity that I'm being shown, or a way to get more customers. That's how that money request will be fulfilled. So before I hand this over to the people that are really meant to be speaking in this hour, are there any questions about the energy of money, or can I explain anything a little more clearly?
So I understand the way you were talking about shifting the perspective was more from a place of I don't have it and I wanted to, I already have it.
Yes.
And that's basically what the shift is. But it has to be, you have to 100% believe it.
Yes.
What can we do to reach a point where we believe it? Because like you said, it is difficult because you are in that situation, you are like this March and then it's here. How do you start training yourself to really be able to overcome that in terms of, yeah, I do, yeah, it will happen with 100% belief, because I feel like the universe will sense it when you don't believe it.
Right.
So there's even 1% of doubt is
right.
bullshit.
So that is an excellent question. Anytime that we have doubt or fear that comes after our money request, let's say we request it, because we know a little bit about the energy of money, but in that immediate moment we say, oh my God, I can't afford that, or oh, am I crazy, or oh, that's never going to happen. The way that the energy of money speaks to that is like it's static on your cell phone line. So it's almost like I'm speaking clearly, and then there's a bunch of and I can't get another word or thought or vibration through. So that doubt has a way of either canceling your money request or delaying it. And so the way to overcome that is, for me, the way that I've overcome it is I realize that all is happening at once. Even if we think about the earth that we're living on, and we're in this certain time zone, and it is now, every moment of the 24-hour day, 7 days a week, 24 days, is occurring on the earth all at once. It's all happening at once, but it's your perspective. So if I'm back at home, everybody's been sleeping right now. It's the middle of the night. If I'm here, we're in this conference room, but it's all happening at once. And so when I think about the future, we have difficult concepts. We say, oh, it hasn't happened yet, but it has. Your beliefs, your thoughts, your energy is laying down your future. You only need to arrive, but it is already done. And so it's the idea of you being aware enough of the power of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your beliefs, that you have already laid down your future. You need yet to arrive at it. And so when I'm thinking about tomorrow, the next moment, a week from now, next year, it's done. Because I had requested it. I need only arrive there. And so I lay down the request, and then I let it go. Now the energy of money wants you to feel joy and happiness and energy, not to worrying is kind of like that same thing about fear and anger and frustration, has a way of delaying your request. You never have to worry about money. It is always a choice. Always a choice.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
About managing money. So then that's about how do you really go about managing money and your wallets. So you're really not spending the money at the right spots. All right. A very good evening to everyone here. Thank you so much for coming over for the session. So as the session says, it's young entrepreneurs and innovators. So